The Google Pixel 7a is not your usual budget phone. Rather than shade features from a more premium phone with an eye toward keeping the cost low, Google seems to have decided to pack in as many capabilities as possible, to the point where you'd be hard-pressed to spot the differences between the Pixel 7a and the presumably more fully featured Pixel 7. That's great news if you are a smartphone shopper on a budget. The Pixel 7a means you don't have to blow your bank account if you want a phone with a fast refreshing display, capable cameras, and the same Tensor processor you'd find in Google's flagship devices. Google's clearly put a lot of effort into this phone, and after spending time with the Pixel 7a, including testing its battery performance, cameras, and display, I'd say the effort was worth it. The challenge for the Pixel 7a is that Google's competitors are trying to beat the phone maker at its own game. The Samsung Galaxy A54, for instance, is probably the Pixel 7a's closest challenger for the title of best cheap phone under $500 in the US, and it's set out to match Google's mid-range phone feature for feature. Can Google stave off the stepped-up competition without also undercutting its own flagships and causing confusion about the Pixel you should buy? That's what this Google Pixel 7a review aims to find out. Google has settled on a specific look for its phones, adapting the Pixel 7's design for the Pixel 7a. If you are like me and you have appreciated the distinctive look of recent Pixel handsets, that's terrific news. If not, well, there are plenty of other blender-looking smartphones out there. Like the Pixel 7, the Pixel 7a features a solid color on its back panel, interrupted only by a horizontal camera bar that's slightly darker variation of the same color. The camera bar is more narrow than the Pixel 6's version, but it still provides a nice balance to the phone when you set it down with its screen facing up. There will be no obbling on the Pixel 7a's watch. As for those colors, you have a choice between charcoal, snow, and sea, the latter of which is light blue to go with the more traditional black and white options. Shop for the Pixel 7a through Google Store and you can find an extra coral option. I have tested the charcoal Pixel 7a, and while I prefer brighter colors, I do find the black pretty striking if prone to smudges and fingerprints. One of the trade-offs for the Pixel 7's lower price is less fancy materials used to make this version. You get a lot more plastic on the Pixel 7a than you do on the Pixel 7, though the phone still uses aluminum for its frame. While you don't completely sacrifice durability with the Pixel 7a, it doesn't quite reach the Pixel 7 standard. The Pixel 7a offers an IP67 water resistance rating, so it can take a dunk in up to 1 meter of water with an IP68 rating. The Pixel 7 can go a little deeper, and while the Pixel 7a may not have the more durable Gorilla Glass Victus found on Pixel 7, you still get Gorilla Glass 3 to guard against scratches. An under-display fingerprint sensor is back on the Pixel 7a, but unfortunately it seems to be as hit and miss as the Pixel 6's fingerprint reader. Let your finger linger on the sensor if you want to make sure the phone unlocks. Or you could set up the face unlock capability that Google has added to its Pixel A phones this time around. The Pixel 7a gets a price hike from its predecessor with a starting price of $499 US. Clearly, Google is gambling that the addition of premium features in the Pixel 7a will make people forget about the $50 increase over the Pixel 6a. But the phone Google should be thinking about is the Pixel 7. The phone costs $100 more than the Pixel 7a, but it's hard to see what you are getting for the extra money that the Pixel 7 doesn't also deliver. The main camera sensor on the Pixel 7 is apparently larger than the one on the Pixel 7a, so Google's flagship device captures more light for better photos. The Pixel 7 also offers faster charging, support for reverse charging, in which the phone can provide power to other devices, and more premium materials. Again, those don't seem like compelling reason to spend $100 more than the Pixel 7a shares the same key attributes as the Pixel 7. It could be that Google is not really concerned about any overlapping features as the Pixel 7 is living on borrowed time. But with the Pixel 8 set to launch later this year, we wonder if Google's flagship phone will be able to keep its attractive $599 starting price. Getting back to the Pixel 7a's price, Google's budget phone now costs $50 more than the Samsung Galaxy A54, which kept its $449 price tag. The iPhone SE is even cheaper at $429 and adding to the competition, the Pixel 6a is taking around Google's lineup at a reduced $349 price. Truly, if you want a cheap phone, you have got an embarrassment of riches to choose from these days. Mobile photography has always been the big selling point of Google's Pixel A phones. What other sub $500 phone produces shots like this? Google argues, and if you have looked at past phones, you would have to concede the point. But past Pixel A models have largely been riding Google's AI-powered photo processing to land among the best camera phones. The actual camera hardware on those phones has been fairly pedestrian. That's changing with the Pixel 7a, which swaps out of the 12.2 megapixel main sensor with a 64 megapixel main shooter. That's a higher resolution than ever the main camera on the Pixel 7. And the upgrade comes at a time that the Galaxy A54 has also boosted its cameras with a 50 megapixel main lens of its own. Clearly the pressure is on Google to step up its game with the Pixel 7a. Does the new photo deliver? We set out with the Pixel 7a and some of its chief rival to see how the 64 megapixel main camera and 13 megapixel ultra-wide lens performed under a variety of conditions. Here are the sample and check this out. The Pixel A supports 4K video capture at 30 frames per second, and for the first time on a Pixel A phone that's available on all of the cameras. We shot some video footage of a pool at dusk and the Pixel 7a did a incredible job. Our footage is bright and clear and the image stabilization keeps things nice and steady. You will notice some lens flare in the Pixel 7a video towards the end, but the Galaxy A54, which is also shooting at 4K 30 FPS, runs into the same issue. There's plenty to like about the Google Pixel 7a, from the smarter Tensor G2 chipset and all the features it enables to welcome improvements to the display's brightness and refresh rate. I am pleased to see the Pixel 7a buck the trend of recent Google phones and perform well on our battery test, even if it meant keeping the faster refresh rate disabled. While the higher megapixel rating on the Pixel 7's main camera is also a welcome change, the camera phone's tendency toward darker colors makes the pictures more hit and miss than I would like to see. In the past, phones like the Pixel 6a were clearly better than mid-range models like Samsung's older Galaxy A53. Now I compare the Pixel 7's output to the Galaxy A54, it's almost too close to call. I think the improvements to the Pixel 7a also make the Pixel 7 obsolete at this point, even if you can find the latter phone but for a less with a Pixel 7 deal. The Pixel 7a can pretty much do everything the Pixel 7 can, and for $100 less. Maybe this is a moot point once the Pixel 8 arrives, but unless you need the telephoto lens that the only Pixel 7 Pro offers, the Pixel 7a is the Google phone you should get. Is it the best phone under $500? The Google A54's 120Hz refresh rate and vastly improved cameras make that a tough call, but the Pixel 7's Tensor-powered features make this a unique device that remains a good bargain, even it's more expensive than last year's model.